It sounds like Gronkowski is looking for a contract. He's looking for an extension on what he currently has right now because he's going back and forth. He's been waffling the entire offseason, not sure if he's going to retire, not sure if he's going to come back. Now, I do believe a part of this equation is that the act from Bill Belichick is worn a little thin in his eyes. But in terms of Gronkowski not showing up, he's got a $250,000 workout bonus in his contract if he makes 90% of the off-season workouts. And the fact that he's not showing up on day one, to me, that shows that he's willing to forego that $250,000 workout bonus if he can somehow, some way get the organization to be amenable to giving him a contract extension, because he's looking at the disparity in pay in terms of what the #1 receiving options are getting on respective teams in the NFL. Top of the market receivers are getting $16, $17 million a year. Sammy Watkins signed with the Kansas City Chiefs for $16 million a year. And Rob Gronkowski is going to work for a little bit less than $9 million over the next couple of seasons. It just doesn't sit right with me. It probably doesn't sit right with him and his camp, and that's probably why he's doing what he's doing, trying to angle and get a new contract from the Patriots.
I want to focus on the Brady side of this just for a second, to see if you guys find it as noteworthy as I do. Tom Brady's not there for day one of the offseason program? Since when does that happen? I understand there's a family obligation, maybe a charity obligation. Like, he got a work obligation. And while I know not everybody goes to all the offseason workouts, and some guys traditionally don't go to the offseason workouts, I know, Cece, you talked about that there was a time in your career where there was a certain set of the OTAs that you never went to. You would always be working out on your own. But whenever someone does something different than how they've done it for 18 consecutive years, I find it noteworthy. I've never remember a story about Tom Brady not being there for day one. Now, I know Belichick's quote was, I've talked to the players, I understand it. It's still odd to me. Now, so that's why I said I want to start with that before you get to the Gronk stuff. Like, do you think I'm overreacting to the Brady stuff?
You're overreacting. It would be odd for Brady to be there. Like, there's nothing new. Like, if you want to keep Tom Brady playing, you have to be able to extend some things to be able to keep him interested in what you're trying to put. I mean, the first day is not important at all. And I'm not 100% certain that Brady has been there every time for the first day. We cover these OTAs and mini camps and off-season workouts totally different than we used to cover them. Okay. Like, so I wouldn't be concerned about that at all. And Belichick did say, I've talked to a couple players, they're not going to be here. There's some scheduling conflicts. That's not something I'd be concerned about.
Okay, then let's go to the Gronk thing, because I saw your eyes flicker a bit when Chris Canty mentioned contract extension and Rob Gronkowski. Like, where are you at on the Gronk stuff?
Well, Gronk, when you're playing with someone like Belichick, we've seen through players that have left, and Danny Amendola, he did an interview that really gave you some insight into who Bill Belichick is. It can wear on you. In the offseason, when you have $250,000 in a workout bonus, that's just like money left on the side of the road. All you have to do is be at the building 90% of the time. Like, you don't put those types of bonuses in there unless you're going to go get them, because you'll be like, no, I don't want that in there as a bonus. Put $50,000 in there. Get me another $200 some other way. When they put that kind of money in there, it lets me know. I believe Gronk is seriously contemplating not playing football. And then in not trying to play football, I believe he doesn't want to be in the Patriots and be at that building any longer than he's got to be. You know, man, this football is a hard business. If they were just playing the games, Chris would still be playing.
Hello.
Hey, Chris, just show up on Sunday, bro. I need you to play about 30, 40 plays and just wreak havoc. No, it's the other stuff. It's the offseason.
That's what they pay you for. They pay you for that stuff.
Yeah, because
I play the games for free.
Yeah, ain't
that
nobody
other stuff,
cheering
that's
for
what
it.
they pay me for.
So I wouldn't be surprised at all if ultimately Gronk walked away from the game.
You both now mentioned with regards to Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski that maybe Bill Belichick's act, or whatever you want to call it, is wearing thin. First of all, the season ended for them like 8 minutes ago. How hard is it for guys that have been there under his director, his tutelage, whatever you want to call it, for the last couple of years, to have to turn around that quickly, want to come into camp and want to start fresh with what was sort of just on their mind? Like, could this just be normal? Could this just be fatigue? Or you really think that he's making a statement here?
They've been in the Super Bowl a couple of years in a row. So, I mean, it's been a long long season for those guys, and they really didn't get the recovery time the last couple of off seasons that most players are accustomed to. So I can understand them not showing up day one or week one of the off-season program. But when Rob Gronkowski seems like he's going back and forth about this, feels like it's a situation where he wants the Patriots to make it worth his while to continue his football career. That's why I always go back to the contract issue and him maybe wanting a bump in pay.
And maybe he also realized, like, life and negotiations are very often about leverage. And I understand players never have leverage over the Patriots, not how they do business. But when we are talking about age 41 Tom Brady, that window winnowing to a degree, you've traded away Brandon Cooks. Danny Amendola's gone. Gronk's probably sitting there thinking, man, I'm about as valuable as I've ever been. I'm coming off a year where I was, for the most part, healthy. I know he had the concussion in the playoff game, but he didn't have a knee problem, a shoulder problem. His elbow was healthy throughout the year, healthy enough to do that elbow drop on Tre'Davious White on the sideline. Like, I think I do wonder, because you're right, that Gronk's got I know tight ends don't get paid like wide receivers, but Gronk is one of the most talented tight ends and one of the most productive tight ends ever. And he's sitting there saying, I make half the money of Sammy Watkins. I make 60% of the money as Allen Robinson.
Yeah, all those are great conversations for other teams. You on another team, that's a great conversation. Hey, man, I'd like to get a pay raise. But as long as you got Tom Brady making $14 million, it holds down the salary of all the other players. I don't care how good y'all think Gronk is. I don't care what kind of offer he's got. All right? They are not going to give Gronk any more money, and Tom Brady's still only making $14 million, though. So Sammy Watkins making 15. That don't matter to Bill Belichick and to New England and the rest of the hierarchy there and what they're doing. So that's nice. It's all like we all talk this tough talk, but Bill Belichick is not going to give him a contract extension. Rob Gronkowski, his only thing is, am I going to play under this new deal or am I going to retire? I believe those are the only two moves that he's got.
I will say this, CC, you're probably right in terms of Rob Gronkowski trying to get leverage over the Patriots and Bill Belichick. But you know, as a player, he probably feels some kind of way knowing that they were in conversations with Brandon Cooks to give him a contract extension. And you know that deal was going to be $14, $15 million a year.
Yes.
The fact that they're willing to pay a guy that they've only had for 1 year that kind of money when they won 2 Super Bowls with Rob Gronkowski, it would frustrate me as a player as well.
And let me just ask you this question, though, because you said that you think Gronk is seriously actually contemplating retiring.
Yes.
If the Patriots think that same thing, you don't think they would potentially at least consider going outside slightly the Patriot way? Not because it's one thing if a player you know is coming back is just going to come back unhappy. But if you were trying to dangle a carrot to make sure he does not retire when you need him in what could be the last few years of Tom Brady, you don't think that the potential true threat of retirement would be enough for them to change business or at least consider changing business a little bit?
You can't threaten Bill Belichick. You can't threaten him. There's nothing you can put over his head. He don't do business that way. All right? It's not going to happen. So I would be shocked by that.
Chris, thanks so much
Great
for hanging
job,
out with
brother.
us.
Thanks for having me.
Coming up, how concerned should the Cavs be after dropping Game 1 next on First Things First?
Sky's falling.
I brought my black suit.
Sky's falling in Cleveland.
You got a Bible?
Oh, really? That's what we're doing with the Cavs?
For all the eyes